Don't think. Feel. It is like a finger pointing away to the moon. Don't concentrate on the finger or you will miss all that heavenly glory. Do you understand?
Now, you get out of here. I'm warning you. You bastards can't push us around. You wanna fight? I'll take you on.
We wouldn't lie to you. It's true. That's what the doctor told us.
Oh, I see. And you believed what you were told. He was well. There was nothing wrong. How could a healthy man die?
You shut up.
books at home with all of his underlining and his notes in them, and it's fascinating to see what sources he drew. He's got books on Western fencing at home that he would use, on boxing. I remember he always used to say that you want to try and absorb what is useful, discard what is useless, and add what is essentially your own, and that was kind of his credo in creating Jeet Kune Do.
Are you as obsessed as he obviously was with the body being a temple in terms of not drinking, not smoking, eating vitamins, fresh fruit, vegetables, those sorts of things? Do you do all that?
Well, my dad made a point at the time that he was training that there were a lot of martial artists who weren't paying enough attention to their instrument, and certainly the instrument of the body is what you're going to be using in your practice of the martial arts. So I think it's very important to keep up the temple, so to speak.
Do you accept the coroner's report that your father died with a violent reaction to aspirin?
Yes. My father had what's called a cerebral edema, which is a burst blood vessel in the brain, and it can be brought on, as can a stroke, for example, by a variety of things. My mother has written two very good books about my father's life that really lay the facts out for anyone who is interested,
But it sounds, I mean, I accept everything you've said, but there's a tragic irony in that, isn't there? That someone who looked after the temple, the body so carefully for so long, should then be killed by something as simple as aspirin.
I think maybe that's why the rumors, which really to me are on the level of people talking about Elvis still being alive,
Yes. Yeah.
I think that's perhaps why so many of those rumors sprung up. He was only 32,
What's the craziest of those? I mean, certainly reports that he'd been killed by secret Chinese gangs that...
I really, honestly, don't keep up with them.
But you name it, it's been said about him, hasn't it? All right, for you then, was it hard for you? You mentioned the fact that in your backyard, these men were screaming and shouting and, going at each other. Was it as a kid at school? I mean, were you put upon? Did people try and take you on as they do Clint Eastwood? Or?
There was always kind of a hired gun thing that went on. I mean, we came over to the United States after my father passed away, and I started going to these different schools.
From Hong Kong?
From Hong Kong, yeah. And, generally there would be 2 or 3 people at each new school I would have to kick the living hell out of, and then after that, things kind of calmed down. By the time I got into high school, I really didn't have that problem anymore.
And again, did you see, certainly as a school kid, did you see the martial arts as not a defensive weapon, but in fact, you go on attack, you hit first?
I think, you go through a period in your martial art training where it's kind of like having a new toy. It's not the end result of the martial arts. It's not how a responsible martial artist should behave. But, when you're a kid and you're learning, I think you sometimes take advantage,
Did it seem natural, Brandon, for you to go into films then, given what your father had done, given your own skills, given the fact that, I mean, you're a good deal taller than he is, aren't you?
Yeah, well, my mother's Swedish.
Oh, is she? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. But he was only about 5'4" or 5'7". 5'7", was he? Okay.
Yeah.
But was it a natural progression for you to go into films?
Well, I always wanted to go into films. I didn't really plan necessarily on going into martial arts films, and this film, Rapid Fire, is my first time out of the box in a leading role.
Right.
So, I don't mind doing them, but I'd like to be able to have the versatility of somebody, like Mel Gibson, for example, who gets the chance to do a big action film, but then also step off and do, Hamlet finally one day.
All right. Yeah. Is it, so we're seeing hardly Hamlet here, but a bit of the action. I guess in some ways then you're going to have to worry that the typecasting of the son of Bruce Lee must always be like Bruce Lee.
I'm not that worried about that. I'm just really not. I think the work will end up speaking for itself, and if with the work that people see you doing in the community, you can start to attract the attention of some real class directors and cinematographers and such, I think you'll get the chance to work,
Was it true or just part of the Hollywood folklore that, in fact, when they filmed your father in action, and perhaps yourself these days, they had to slow the film down because the fist and the feet were going too fast?
Well, that was back when he was doing the Green Hornet on television in the United States. And the thing of it was the cameras weren't as sophisticated back then. And literally on television, they had to shoot it, they had to overcrank and shoot it in slow motion because otherwise it just looked like a special effect when he moved. I mean, the man was fast. He was deadly fast. I've really never encountered anyone in all of my training since who was as fast.
You don't know why? I mean, it's just one of those freaks of sport.
Well, he obviously had, great physical gifts, but he also trained assiduously. I think a tremendous amount of speed and reflex training is just muscle memory,
Yes.
And he trained very hard.
All right. Good. Nice to talk to you. Rapid Fire opens in the US shortly, I think in August.
It opens on August 14th, yes.
Okay, and then later in Australia. So we look forward to seeing you here again.
All right, and if you wouldn't mind, I'd just like to say hi to Lisa, my girlfriend, who's waiting for me back at the hotel.
A born romantic. Would you please thank Brandon Lee? Thanks, Brandon. Thank you. Please stay there.
Now, you get out of here. I'm warning you. You bastards can't push us around. You want to fight? I'll take you on.